Once again, I welcome you all to this very special 101st session of Leadership Talks. As you know that these sessions are being organized by India International Education Council and School Lalaji Solutions. India International Education Council is a not-for-profit organization which is working in the field of education. It has collaborators from 12 countries. It aims to create a better world through education. It also aims to build quality centers for elementary education which are approachable for all kids, finding best educational practices across the globe, and find ways to implement those in Indian institutions. It is also creating more awareness on hygiene and learning disabilities. It publishes a magazine called World Education Review and many other educational reports. It will it aims to open 100 chapters in different cities by 2022. It will soon open its membership for institutions and individuals. It also impart training for leaders, teachers, students, and parents. As you know, this is our 101st session. So far, we have conducted 100 sessions. We have received 9,721 registrations, 8,637 questions on national education policy. We have seen participation from 5 countries: India, USA, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Nepal. From India, we have seen participation from 20 states and 84 cities. We aim to organize 200 sessions. We would be reaching out to 100,000 educators, 20,000 institutions, and 1,000 plus eminent speakers like today's speakers would be joining us to share their thoughts and perspective on national education policy. Now, I would request you all please join me in welcoming our key speaker for this very special 101st session. Our first key speaker, Dr. Padmja S. Kuttiji. Padmja ma'am is principal with the Ram Nivas Bajaj High School, Mumbai, Maharashtra. She's a gold medalist in BSc. She's also done MSc and BEd. She has also completed her CIDTT, which is a Cambridge International Diploma in Teacher Training course from the University of Cambridge. She received her honorary doctorate in 2018. She has a rich experience of 23 years in the educational field with expertise in teaching, general administration, teacher training, educational assessment, and student relations. She is also involved in international programs and was pivotal in conducting the student teacher exchange program to the Netherlands as a part of EU Mind, which is Europe Meets India program. Her humongous efforts were rewarded when she was bestowed with the Nation Builder Award in 2016 as well as 2018 by the Rotary Club Western Mumbai. For her proactive approach and innovative ideas, she has received various prestigious awards like Best Principals Award, International School Award, EU Mind International Coordinators Award, Education Icon Award, Women Edupreneur Award, Edu Star Award, IDF for Social Action Award for Humanitarian Services, among many other such awards. She's also a council member with Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, which is we call Wiki. We welcome you, Padmja ma'am. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm facing some internet connectivity issues, but we'll get back soon. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. And
good morning to all the dignitaries present here. And thank you for the wonderful introduction. Thank you.
Welcome, ma'am. Our next key speaker, another very senior education leader, Gurmeet Kaur ma'am. Gurmeet ma'am is principal with the Sunbeam School, Bhagwanpur, Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh. She's a postgraduate diploma. She has a postgraduate diploma in school leadership and management. Also, MA in public administration, MCOM and BEd. She's also a CBSE city coordinator in Varanasi, which is now called Prayagraj region since year 2018. She has been appointed as chief nodal office supervisor since 2010. She has also been a member with affiliation committee of CBSE since 2010 and successfully done the inspection of more than 25 schools till now. She took out 2 issues of self-made magazine named Inspiration, along with teachers and students under her. She has also published a book of poem called Abhivyakti. She has received many prestigious awards, like one certificate of compliment by All World Gayatri Parivar for active support in 2014 and 15. She was also awarded with the Pratik Vidyashri Alankar Samman for contribution in education field in 2005. She's also received CBSE Sports Promotion Award 2013 by CBSE for promoting sports and games at the grassroots level. We welcome you, Gurmeet ma'am. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you so much, and it's a privilege to be a part of this group for the NCF.
Welcome, ma'am. Welcome. We are honored with your presence. Our next key speaker, Anju Badwar, ma'am. She is principal with Bharat exceptional academician, instructor, and innovator with over 23 years of extensive experience in administration and management, education management, performance evolution, guidance counseling, special education support, student advisory, and student mentoring. She's dexterous in conducting seminars, school gatherings, coordinating and managing the competitive exams, Olympiads at state scholarships. She is highly skilled at motivating students through positive encouragement and reinforcement of concepts through interactive classroom instructions and helping them to achieve high improvements in academics. She's a forward thinking and eagerness. She has a high eagerness to learn and grow by attending workshops, seminars, national and international conferences, publishing research articles and reviews in esteemed journals. She has received various prestigious awards for her contribution to the field of education. We are honored with your presence, Anju ma'am. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you, sir. And I really thank you all and we'll be joining soon.
Welcome, ma'am. Our next key speaker, another very senior educationist, Dr. V. Binduji. Bindu ma'am is principal with Hosur Public School, Hosur, Tamil Nadu. She's a dedicated, resourceful, and innovative educationist offering the extensive experience of over 23 years with reputed schools, which over 9 years in the capacity of teacher and 14 years as a principal. She is a PhD in adolescent counseling in CBSE schools, also MSc Psychology from Malay University, India. She's a keen strategist, adept at creating innovative strategies and formulating administrative policies for accelerated growth of institutions. She's also a founder of Pencil, which is a training organization based in Cochin. She has also received very prestigious CBSE National Best Principal Award in 2019. She started the first butterfly park in CBSE school, in any CBSE school in Kerala. She has received another prestigious award, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Outstanding Principal Award in 2017. She's also worked with many prestigious institutions as principal like Vidya Vihar Central School, Aishwarya Public School, MES Senior Secondary School. She's also a member with CBSE School Affiliation Committee. We welcome you, Bindu ma'am. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you so much. I feel honored and I'm so privileged to be here among you all. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Welcome, ma'am. Our next key speaker, another very dynamic education leader, Mohammad Azharji. Mohammad Azharji is principal with Knowledge Academy School, Chennai, Tamil Nadu. After his graduation, he worked as an administrator at an NGO for 1 year. After that, he joined as English and Islamic studies teacher at a private school for 2 years. He started a venture in the name of BRICS Consultant, which focuses on empowering individuals through training, coaching, mentoring, and consulting, apart from running a prestigious school's Knowledge Academy School in Chennai. He was awarded with Educational Excellence Award by Economic Development Forum of India in the year September 2015. He also worked as a freelance trainer with Diploma in Training and Development. He's an NLP Master Practitioner. He has visited, Finland and UK schools to study the education system. He is regularly invited as key speaker at various prestigious forums and platforms. We welcome you, Azharji. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Welcome, sir. Our next key speaker, Mr. Nitin Dahiya. Nitin Dahiya ji is assistant professor with SRM University. He is associated with SRM University in the Department of Civil Engineering. We welcome you, Nitin ji. Thank you for joining. Our next key speaker, Mr. Sunil Dangi. Sunil Dangi ji is co-founder and CEO of eMango Solutions. Sunil ji is an IIT graduate. He's having master's degree in mathematics and scientific computing. He's an actuary and also a member with Institute of Actuary, United Kingdom. He has worked with ICICI Prudential, HSBC, Financial Risk Advisor at Ernst & Young, India and UK. He's an entrepreneur for the last 6 years in telecom, food and education sector. Doing research on career counseling for last couple of years. Based on that research, he along with his team have come up with a wonderful solution called eMango, which is a digital career counseling platform. We welcome you, Sunilji. Thank you for joining. And our last key speaker for this very special session, Vinayak Sharma ji. Vinayak ji is a national head of business and strategy with Torrens. He's an MBA double major in finance and marketing from IMA. He dropped out after clearing first group of CA final to start his own brand of tea, which sells successfully in rural West Bengal and opened up subsequent exports to European countries. Having a decade of experience in the FMCG sector, branding and supply chain, along with handling international trades and logistics, since 2017, he is involved in bringing up upliftment in the field of music education, provided to schools across India through Torrens, which is a US-based organization known globally to provide the best in music education through its online and offline platform. We welcome you, Vinayak ji. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Rajulji. Thank you.
So with this, I'll invite our key speakers, for the opening remark. So first, I would request Padmita ma'am, if we can have your quick 1-minute opening remark. So I believe Padmita ma'am is facing some internet problem. So I'll come back to you, Padmita ma'am. I would request Gurmeet Kaur ma'am, if we can have your 1-minute opening remark.
So, good evening and Jai Hind everyone present here. And under the NCF 2020, a lot of emphasis has been laid on 21st century skill. So today, my entire presentation would be based on 21st century skills. What are the expectations of the NCF and how can we work upon it and give these skills to the students in the school scenario? So my entire presentation would be on that, focusing on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Gurmeet ma'am. I'll come back to you for your main talk. And now I would request Anju Budwar ma'am. Anju ji, if we can have your 1-minute opening remark.
A very good morning to a warm gathering of senior leaders, school educators, and we are here to discuss all about NEP. But I would focus more on the early education policy, which has come up, early education school care. So that is very important for a strong foundation. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So in fact, the biggest, I would say, biggest emphasis of this national education policy, in that area only, and a lot of educators have highlighted the importance of that part. So we all are very excited to hear your ideas, Anjuji. So I'll come back to you. Thank you. Now I would request Bindu ma'am. Bindu ji, if we can have your opening remark.
Yeah, thank you so much. I would also like to learn from you all. I'm here to learn from you all also. I believe that this national education policy, even still from in the month of July 2020 onwards, there has been raging all over the country like a pandemic, a positive pandemic. And we have been talking about NEP. And I definitely believe that this will really transform the education scenario of the country. So I will be focusing on the early education itself because that lays foundation. So it's the first policy document, and that will really, remove the shackle of the colonial masters. And we will be looking more into our context. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We all are very excited to hear your perspective. I'll come back to you. Now, I would request Mohammed Azharji, sir, if we can have your quick opening remark.
Yeah, very good morning. Very excited to have a national education policy after 25 years. And what I will be speaking on is on the pros and cons, the concerns of this national education policy. And this will be my today's talk on that.
Thank you, Azharji.
Thank you.
Now I would request Nitin Dahiya ji. Do we have your presence, Nitin ji? Right. I would request Nitin Nagpal ji. Nitin ji, if we have your presence. So I would request Vinayak Sharma ji, if we can have your opening remark.
Thank you, Rajulji, for that wonderful introduction. It feels really nice to be a part of this panel. Music being my core area of expertise, I will be lending my thoughts about how music education can be taken forward, keeping NEP 2020 into mind. As everybody has said it famously, like NEP, music has been mentioned more than 20 times. So there is a definite relevance to music moving forward. and I am being into tea industry since last 12 years. So unfortunately, I cannot offer tea right now. Technology has its limitations. So everybody, please have a cup of tea and let's start this discussion with a very fresh mind.
Thank you, Vinayak. So with this, I would like to check with Padma ma'am. Padma ma'am, if you are back with your internet. Right. So, okay. So she is still facing the challenge. So we'll begin the main talk. Before I invite our first key speaker for the main talk, I just would like to share the background, share the learnings which we have had during our last 100 sessions. In fact, during our last sessions, almost every speaker, every participant maintained that this policy is a wonderful document. This policy, has a potential to place India at that coveted position of Vishwa Gyan Guru. But almost everyone showed apprehension that execution is going to be very challenging. And a lot of people said, as I told in the beginning, that finance is going to be a challenge. Many people believe that good schools in urban areas already implementing many ideas which are being suggested in NEP. The biggest challenge would be for rural schools, budget schools, or the government schools. A lot of people said that training is one such area. So I believe Padma ma'am is back. So ma'am, if we can have your opening remark.
Good morning to all the dignitaries. Sorry for the little inconvenience, but that's what the new normal has taught us. And it's great to be a part of this huge panel and to discuss a very awaited policy, the new education policy. Thank you, India International Education Council and World Education Review for considering us to share this platform. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Welcome. I'll come back to you for your main talk. So with this, Padma ma'am, I was just sharing the learnings which we have had during our last sessions. So almost everyone said that this is a wonderful document, but execution is going to be the key. If we are able to execute this well, then this policy has a tremendous potential to change the Indian education and eventually India as a country. So,
so that's why I have covered methodologies in my talk when I get to it, so that
wonderful. We are very excited to hear your ideas. So now I would request Gurmeet ma'am, ma'am, if I may invite you for your main talk. All these speakers will get 8 to 10 minutes. So 10 minutes is the maximum, so that we have sufficient time in the end for the questions. We have received many questions. On national education policy, we would like to present those questions to you all for your perspective and comments. So now I would request Gurmeet ma'am. Gurmeet ma'am, over to you.
So good morning and Jai Hind everyone. And the new education policy, which was the much awaited policy, and it is like after 34 years, people say that it has come back. And it needed a change in the beginning rather than right now. But even then, even if it is late, I don't think there is so much of issues with it. But then in the new education policy, they have laid emphasis on a lot of things apart from, like the pedagogies, the teachers training and other things. So my focus would be entirely this time on the skills of 21st century, which we need to, develop in our students so they go out and they are into the world, they are able to get employed. Now, this 21st century skills, which definitely each and every child should have. So when CCE came, the WHO also emphasized on the 10 skills that each student should have. In fact, each person should have. Even when we are working, I think these skills are very, very important for all of us. Now, what are the 21st century skills? The term 21st century skills refer to a broad set of knowledge, skills, work habits, and character traits that are believed by educators, school reformers, college professors, employers, and others to be critically important to success in today's world. So this word that today's world and success, I think these skills are very, very, very important. Today, when we also, have the teachers' employment, we see that there are many candidates They have got the degrees perfect with them. But when we check out the other skills, they do lack somewhere. And then it becomes very difficult for us to employ them. So giving this set of skills to our students would definitely enhance their employability also in the future. Now, what are the 21st century skills which is there? Now, they have divided the entire 21st century skills into three parts. Number one is the learning skill, then literary skills and life skills. Now, what is a learning skill? Learning skill, in that we have four C's. That is critical thinking, creativity and innovation, collaboration and communication. And literacy skills now has information literacy, media literacy, and technology literacy. And in life skills, it is the easy way to remember life skill with the word FLIPS. F is flexibility and adaptability, leadership and responsibility, initiative and self-direction, productivity and accountability, social and cross-cultural interaction. Going ahead, this is the there is a book of the CBSE also on 21st century skills. I would request all the school leaders, if you can have this book available for your students and teachers. It is a great book which enhance, it comprises of all the skills which are mentioned over here. And one by one, I'm going to look at this, that how we can do it in schools, how we can develop these skills in the school. So encouraging 21st century skills in the classroom. So these are the whole of the skills that is required for by the students of today's thing. Now, critical thinking. We have been talking about it. Now there are a lot of activities we do it. We can't say that we are doing critical thinking. Rather, when we do all these activities in the school itself, it will enhance critical thinking. And what I was just trying to find out, that in our time there was no such, nobody taught us that these are the skills. But the activities that we kept on doing in formal and informal settings, that developed all these skills in us. But in today's scenario, we need to develop, because there are a lot of other things which are missing with the students. So how can you develop a critical thinking skill? Now, critical thinking can be developed by impromptu debate. There is one debate topic so the child researches and finds out. Whereas there can be other topics where you give them the topic and they do a debate in the class. Asking riddles, gap filling, cross questioning, and questions made questions. So you make the questions and ask. That's also one of the art. These all things can help in critical thinking. Next is, what are the creativity skills? Curiosity, open-mindedness, problem solving, and imagination. Curiosity, how do you develop curiosity? It is inquiry, observe, and research. Same way, imagination, having ideas, select from the best, invent, and then problem solving, identify, respond, and present. Same way, open-mindedness, like it, listen, think differently, and explore. Next is creativity. How can we, do creativity activities in the school? So we can have a creative space where you have drama, dance, music, and all. Image talk. So you have the image and you talk about it. Scamper. Now, what is the full form of scamper? So substitute, combine, adapt, modify, put to another use, eliminate, and reverse. Then wrong is right. So this is a very good activity which, if it done in school, it can really, help the students. So you have to give the wrong answer to the right question. So that also, so you think differently, and alternative way of learning lesson. So there can be different ways which they have already told, and I think my other speakers, panel members will be discussing about it. Collaboration. Save the last word for me. Chain game. Hands-on project. Dumb charades. Search to win. Now, dumb charades, when we used to do like a play. But now, this is one of the activity which can help in enhancing the collaboration skills among the students. So these activities need to be enhanced. Communication skills. How do you develop communication skills in the students? First is, guide for the blindfold, which is a very good. So how effective a blindfold person reaches to the target with your verbal, information or communication or direction, that is a wonderful way of seeing that how good you are in communication. Silence talk day. So it is a silence and a talk day. So without speaking out, still you do the work and you talk to each other. So how? With the eyes expression, with the facial movements, and with the hand movements and all gestures. How do you talk? Talk in pairs, students class. So students taking up classes and students, leading the class, and feelings are important. So these are the ways by which we can use the enhance the communication skill of the student. ICT literacy, information literacy, and media. Now, this COVID, I think, gave a leap to the ICT, and each one of us became very competent in handling the technology, and also I would say like exploring the technology, which earlier we were a little hesitant. And it is said कि जब सिर पे आता है तभी हम कुछ करने लगते हैं. And I think this goes very well. We are now so confident about it. So teach, learn, copy, design an app, designing a blog, website, PPT, anything can be done. And this is all a part of the media literacy. Then there is flexibility and adaptability. We talked about the flips. So what is a flip? So flexibility and adaptability. Now, different uses of household items. So we do best out of waste. We do all this thing, and even there is now we have started making masks with the used, cloth. So how did flipped classroom? Now they say a teacher is not required to teach in the class. You give you give the topic to the students. You give before the videos to the students. Let the students see, and in the class you have a discussion on them that particular topic rather than teaching. Same is shuffle and make up a new game. So these activities can help in flexibility and enhancing flexibility and adaptability. Leadership. It is very important that we enhance the leadership skills in our students. Now, how do we do and what is the requirement of that? So for leadership, you require support, you require a team, you require motivation, because even if you are a leader and if your people and the team members are not with you, you can never achieve anything. So you should have the competence also. People will respect you only when you have a competency in that. Skills also. So you require all skills here. Whatever we have been talking that we need to put in the students, or the students should have the skills, I think even as a leader we should have. So how is leadership skills important for the students, and how can we enhance it? So quiz to lead, teamwork is better. Leaders you admire, so you talk about them. Round tables, number games, all these activities should be done in the school. Even your the student council, your monitors, all this is a part of enhancing the leadership. So what are the responsibility activities you should be giving? So make your own classroom roles. So each class makes their own role, and wanted and responsible. So I want to do this, so you become responsible for it. So helping hands each other, helping out each other. A smart child helping a child who needs a little support and a help, and everyone grows together. So how does so you do a lot of activities which enhances the responsibility. Initiative activities. So you need to take initiative. So even if I have all the qualities with me, and if I'm not able to come forward and tell that I don't think you get so much of chance. There is not so much of time with people now to find out, this child I should be giving. It is like who does it first. So teacher first, everyone matters, goal and role, and bunch of other activities where you take the initiative and try to do. So a lot of time you do certain activities in your own state, in your own city, where it matters to everyone. Productivity activities. So what are the activities which are really productive? So we say at times that watching TV is non-productive activity, but even then that can be also productive activity if you're listening to the content and if you're gathering the content. So read and read and read. This is one way because reading enhances your knowledge, your skills, and everything. And also to understand the better world. Research projects. So more you research, the more you project. Praise for more and ask to listen. So when you listen, you ask questions. That shows that you have been involved. Next is accountability activities. So what are the accountability activities that we can enhance in the students? So student accountability project, ownership of learning process, do as you say, and monitors. Self-direction activities is like you're self-directed. Nobody tells me to do. So let them be. Connections to experts. So I do it. If I want to go up in teaching job, say after class 12, I talk to the teachers who are already working. I talk to the people who are into the education field and take the first-hand knowledge from them and design the thinking. So I am thinking, but what am I thinking? So that is also very important. So if it is goal oriented, I will direct my thinking and design it in such a manner that it helps me to reach my goal. And self advocacy. So these are some self-direction activities. Social skills. What are the thumbs up is like we should have it, and thumbs down we should never have this. So like you have take turns, follow directions, work together, calm down, share, best effort, use kind words, and clean up. All these are social skills which each one of us should have. And if we don't have this, we'll have the thumbs down, like break things, we don't follow routines, we don't follow the directions. All this is why social skills are very, very important. Sometimes we have seen that, certain peoples are lone workers. So they prefer to work alone, that I am happy. The moment they have a team to work with, at times they don't gel well with the entire team. Now, how can we develop social skill activities? I've seen a lot of students who have social skills, issues. They're not so much comfortable. So how do we do? Now, dumb charades we heard, this emotion charades. So, you express emotions and they need to identify. So you do that. Relay culture, one after the other, social circle time, or even quality circle time is the best
Right.
way to enhance the social skills and also face it.
Right.
So these are the skill sets which NEP is talking about, that we need to work it. And I personally don't feel that this is a very difficult task, because it has to be, if you take it separately, it will become a difficult task. But if it is, the teachers use it while teaching up their chapters and slowly working upon it, it will not be an added burden at all. So that was all from my side. Thank you, and Jai Hind.
Thank you. Gurmeet ma'am, you highlighted the, very important 21st age key skills, be it critical thinking, curiosity, collaboration, communication, to achieve that leadership for our learners. You also talked about that it's very important to enhance leadership skills and to create a culture where learners are encouraged to take initiatives, where curiosity is appreciated, where asking question is appreciated. So you also said like NEP, if executed well, has a potential to create an environment. You also shared skills for a better social, standing. So thank you, Gurmeet ma'am. I'll come back to you later for the question with the questions. So now with this, I would request, Anju ma'am, before I go to Padmita ma'am, Anju ma'am, I would request you if we can have your perspective, your interpretation. I have just a very quick request with all the speakers. While sharing your interpretation, if you can also suggest or share some idea, which we all can try to implement our in. So that would make it more meaningful and engaging. So Anjuji, over to you.
Thank you, sir, and very good morning once again. And we are here to discuss a very, significant topic which NEP has covered, and that is early childhood care and education. So that is a greatest reform, I must say, a greatest equalizer, as for long, so many years, our school systems have been focusing only on the senior classes results, and that is what we are all have been talking about. We are not talking about how we are taking care about the child who enters our classrooms, who enters from, that is the first stage, that is their journey when they start the ladder. So their ladder for education, that is the first step. So let's begin with that. That is early childhood care. So that is why it is so important, because as it says that it is for the holistic development of a child. Holistic development, which includes child's social, emotional, cognitive or physical need. Every need is covered at when he enters the school, when he leaves the mother's lap and comes to school. So schools should provide them as that very important care which is necessary at to have the strong foundation of lifelong learning. So this is where it begins. So every school should focus on this thing, and that is what NEP wants, and it is envisioned in the policy. The significant thing, that is all about the beginning of childhood educational journey should be given importance. And for that, they have changed the structure. That is, as you all know, from earlier it was 10+2 curriculum. It was 6 to 14 years. We have been learning and making children also learn that any child who attains the 6 to 14 years age, the education would be free. So now we have to start making it 3 to 18 years, which is all important. So from 3 years onwards, we have to make sure that the child enters school, and that is universalization of education given to each child. Each child has the right to learning. So that is what we are focusing here in NEP. So that structure has been changed. That curriculum has to be planned 5+3+3+4. I think, I'm sure everyone is aware of this. So 5 years, the foundational years of each and every child, which are very critical in anyone's life journey. As you know, neurosciences and everywhere psychological, you know, if they say that the first 8 years, 6 to 8 years are very critical in anyone's child development or any human being's development. So that is where we can have the possibility to nurture the care and make them a responsible future citizens. If we attend to these needs, whether it is cognitive, social, emotional, or any need. So these foundational years we are talking here about. So 5 years means we have to start 3 years plus the early primary years, that is grade 1 and grade 2. That all would be a compiled 5 years foundational years, which have to be focused very carefully. So which includes, earlier it was given by Anganwadis or play schools or daycare centers, they were all taking care. But when it comes to a formal structure of education or schooling, then it will be definitely very much formalized, and care needs to be given at how the child gets all these needs fulfilled at the school at one premises. So quality preschooling, which is very important. Learning will be available in the schools to children, and especially the disadvantaged children, and every segment of the, you know, Indian population. We know it's very diverse, where they do not get that quality education. So we have, as leaders, we have to see that how these 6 to 8 years or this age group is given that importance, where the brain connections multiply exponentially, and potential development is very high up to the age of 8 years. So we have to keep in mind, and we have to make use of this window of opportunity which is given, and which we can formulate by giving them activity classes, play group methods, and very experiential learning. Each, you know, all these things we keep focusing all for higher classes, for technology, like Gurmeet ma'am said, technology given, or the 21st century skills. If we just relate it and bring it to this level, definitely that would make the strong foundation and base for each and every child. So that is my point of view. And of course, one very good thing about what they have introduced here in this policy is continuum. What is that continuity, which we were not definitely using it right now these days? Any child coming to our schools, we just give admission, seeing yes, nursery, KG, we'll just handhold and bring up to that level. But 3+ years or 3 years age when it enters, and how he will learn and progress in the 4th year and then 5th year as a age group, so that will all be covered and that will all be based. So each year progress would be based on the previous years of learning. So that is what is continuum. So first, second, we have to, till second standard, we have to see that each child gets that opportunity and his level is recorded, is taken care, and chances to grow further should be given to that child. And that is how we can see to it. So this importance, why it is given in this NEP, is because this is the age group where the child grows in physique. So physical well-being is taken care, muscular coordination. So that is his all the cognitive skills, muscular coordination, that is all. Then social attributes, the mannerism, the habit formation, the skill formation. We just talk about latest stages, but this is the very critical age, the careful, we have to be very careful about what he learns, what he picks up. And if he's not coming to school, if the child is not coming to school, so all that goes waste. That lays a very bad impact on his health, hygiene, nature, behavior. Everything is what it carries from the school, or what we would love to give. So health also is very important. Emotional maturity is very important. This age group only will try to build confidence. So we generally say 9/10 of education is encouragement. I'm sure you all agree to it. Encouragement would only boost his confidence. So that confidence building at this age group is also very important. And he would see his peer group, his friends, and he would also learn and come up, and whatever at his background, at his family background. But when he comes to school, whether it is mother tongue or language or whatever we do and teach, but that is where he gets the platform to come up as a personality. His personality will be blooming. So this age group also stimulate curiosity. We try to would give them opportunity to explore, investigate, create, and experiment, by giving him a chance to play, playway method or any such real life experiences he will be seeing and experiencing. So experiment, and then he would express his thoughts and feelings, which is also again at the same time very important. So I appreciate the step Indian government has given, the union government, and all this will now come under Ministry of Education. Earlier, as it was under, say, Women and Health Ministry or any such other ministries, now all this 3 to 18 years age group would be coming under the Ministry of Education. This is again another good step in early childhood care which is taken up. So I believe after 10 years of RTE, what we have learned that we have to give right to learning to each and every child. So that is what I believe. Thank you. And I hope we'll all try to fulfill each child's learning journey in a happy way.
Thank you. Thank you, Anju ma'am. And in fact, I believe that the biggest achievement which NEP has already achieved is it has created that buzz. It has created that awareness, mass awareness around that early childhood education. Now, a lot of people have recognized that importance. So you talked about so many important parts. You talked about, why the emphasis of NEP on early child care education will create an impact, and how it and why it was important, and how it will create an impact. You also talked about that, the NEP's focus on disadvantaged kids and those students who were out of the education ecosystem so far is laudable. You also talked about continuum learning, and how it would get encouraged post NEP implementation. You also highlighted the importance of health and emotional maturity, in different age group students, and why as an education leader we need to focus upon that, and NEP also focuses on that. You also talked about that NEP will create an environment where learners would be encouraged to express themselves. There would be more, I would say, encouraged to find opportunities for themselves. So thank you, Anju ma'am, for this. for highlighting these important parts. I'll come back to you with questions. Thank you, Anju ma'am. Now, with this, I would request Padmja ma'am, and meanwhile, I must recognize the presence of Sunita Nandwani ma'am, Principal Saffron Public School, Faridabad. Welcome, Sunita ma'am. Thank you for joining. And now I would request Padmja Kuti ma'am. Padmja ma'am, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was a great pleasure listening to Ms. Gurmeet and Ms. Anju sharing their views on NEP. And every moment that we discuss NEP is a kind of learning. And I'm sure it's going to help us all as educators to really mold our children into citizens of the future, be more responsible, be more socially and emotionally equipped, and go out and take the world in their stride. So I have logged in with my teacher's ID. I have one of my teachers presenting. So there will be a presentation because I always feel that there should be some takeaway for all educators and teachers when they attend the webinar. So the methodologies that will be discussed here will really help them to enhance their classroom interactions. So the major change that we are looking at when we talk about NEP is that the HRD ministry will now be renamed as Ministry of Education. Thank you. One of my teachers, Ms. Ketki, is presenting. There is also the structural change that we have seen and observed, and Ms. Anju has already discussed about it, the 5+3+3+4 pattern. There is, after a long time, going to be universalization of early childcare education. So, after a long time, there is going to be effective recognition for early childcare education, which is really the highlight of the NEP. And Ms. Ketki, we are not able to see the screen. And the major objective of NEP is reduction of content. So there is going to be reduction of curriculum content in the sense of information and knowledge. It's not only going to be a lot of content that our children are going to learn, but it's going to be the methodology that's going to take the prime focus. So we as educators will have to focus on how we can enhance the skills of students and build entrepreneurs in our classrooms right from the primary years to the secondary section. And of course, multilingualism and assessments will gradually follow with a very new approach. So let's look at what the reduction of content would look like. So the curriculum content in each subject will be reduced. The essential focus will be building key concepts, ideas, and applications rather than just grabbing knowledge and information and filling our minds with a lot of information, which now for our children is at the click of a button. So learning will become more fluid, flexible, personalized right from the primary years, which will actually create space for critical thinking, inquiry-based learning, a lot of discussion-based concepts where children will be able to discover, analyze, and they will integrate their entire learning with a problem-solving attitude. So it is the skills that we are looking at when we are focusing on the objectives of NEP to be introduced in our classrooms. So implementation is a key factor, actually. The objective and the entire policy is very good, but the implementation is where we are going to head towards in facing challenges, but we shall overcome it and we shall really emerge victorious. So what are the skills that we are looking at? We are looking at, like Ms. Gurmeet said, the 21st century skills, which mainly incorporate the 4 C's, which we have been talking about: creativity, communication, critical thinking, and collaboration. Where I would also add another C, the 5th C would be confidence. It's very important that we build confidence in our children, because that's what is going to be required for them when they go out in the world and seek employment or become entrepreneurs. A lot of focus will be there on social and emotional learning, because the entire focus of NEP is to build and raise the bar of the social and emotional quotient of all our students. A lot of experiential learning will come into focus with an integrated holistic approach, and this will build towards the local attitude. That is, you learn more about your local surroundings. You, like if you're in the state of Mumbai, first understand Mumbai. There are many of our students who actually don't even know what happens in Mumbai, because I belong to Mumbai. And I'm sure as there are people from other states that have joined in. So like Lucknow, Ludhiana. So first learn about the history and the geography of your own city where you live in, your own state. Then go towards your country and then develop a global attitude, which will automatically lead you to gain sustainable development goals that the UN is looking at. So while building skills, we will, move towards gaining sustainable development goals. And that's what the entire roadmap of NEP is looking at. So I would like to give you a few examples of classroom interactions here. Like somebody said earlier that if you can give us examples, it will help our teachers and educators. So we all know what communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity is all about, which I have put down in the slide, but all of us know what it ideally drives towards. So if you give a simple project to a classroom, like you work in groups to find out the lengths of 5 of the world's longest rivers in kilometers, and then arrange the rivers in descending order, arrange the rivers as per their lengths in descending order. What are you doing over here? You are teaching them geography, you are teaching them mathematics, you are teaching them to explore because you're already giving them the site. You're not telling them waste time and now find out. Come on, now from where are you going to find out? No, you give them even the site from where they can look up and get the names of these rivers, arrange them in descending order. What approach are you taking them towards? A collaborative approach, because you're putting them into teams. And the biggest companies have now said that we are not looking at your academic performance or record when we are going to employ you in future. In future, that is for our children, for our 21st century children. So what they are going to look at is how best you can work in a team, how you can take your team forward, how you can collaborate, understand others, have patience, build up your interpersonal skills with your team members, and then move towards finalizing a project. So all this in one small little project we'll be able to attain. They will come up with their creativity because you can tell them to draw, a river with whatever surroundings they would like to. And when you talk about creativity, they may even think and talk about the advantages of the river banks. So this is how you are going to build up the skills in the children with even a small little project like this. Or you can tell them that make a small jigsaw puzzle, you can, I'm talking about the primary students, they would love to do this. You just give them the picture of any animal and you tell them to cut it and then, cut it very skillfully. So you're even building up those meticulous skills and the eye for detail, and then tell them to just arrange the puzzles so that they get to analyze and build up their logical skills also. This is what will help you in understanding the focus of the primary students. The next, the values that Ms. Gurmeet and Ms. Sanju also spoke about, that the social and emotional learning is a very important facet which we as educators will have to deal with, taking the advantage of NEP, that the process through which our children will understand emotions and manage positive relationships, because there should be no place for negativity in their journey of life. We have to build up that positive spirit through education and also sensitize them towards the needs of the society and the environment. So if you talk about the trouble that the tribal people of Andaman and Nicobar Islands have, and you talk about this approach as to how you can give ideas to help them, it will really sensitize them towards building right values. Or you tell them to, plant trees and keep your environment clean. You're going to build life skills in there. I'll give you a small example which my school did. We had this project called Cover of Compassion, which in association with an NGO, we provided blankets to 1,000 people, elderly people, leprosy patients and children across the country. That is in Bihar, Jaipur, Firozabad and Rajasthan. So we collect, the children collected small amounts from their neighbors, collaborated, built positive relationships with their relatives, collected the amount, and as a school, we donated 1,000 blankets, each blanket costing 300 rupees. So we collected 3 lakh rupees on a Keto app, and we donated blankets to the needy. And the entire community of Ramnivas Bajaj High School got sensitized. Even our teachers took active interest and participated in this social drive. And we got recognized for donating blankets to the needy during these cold winters. So, and this will also build gratitude in the children because they will understand they need to be grateful for what they have, and then reach out to people who need their help. So, next slide, please. So, what is going to be the experiential learning all about? It's going to be a constructivist approach. So, when children learn to do things themselves, when it's a hands-on experience, they definitely remember and get involved a little more. So, it can be as basic a project like making a kitchen compost, which my teachers of the Nature Club very successfully carried out with my students of the Nature Club. They built they collected different kinds of peels and all the kitchen waste and actually built kitchen compost and used it to nurture their plants. So they actually understood how to use kitchen waste and make best out of waste and also nurture a life, because talking to the plants, taking care of them in itself is a skill that we need to develop in our children. It's also about reflection. Experiential learning is also about reflection. And then I come to my favorite topic, that is the integrated holistic approach. And I've been a biology teacher, so this is my favorite topic, the model of a cell. So everybody believes that we have to get huge materials to build up a cell. I say no, pick up post-its from your office, pick up post-its from your school stationery store, and then just tell children to bring small papers or post-its. And you can see picture number 2 is a model of a cell built only out of post-its. So they arrange this post-its and then they build up the entire structure of a cell. And of course, if you tell them to get fruits, build up the model of a cell, work in a team, understand the functions of the cell, and then pick up all the fruits that they have used, it will also lead to healthy eating habits. And the third model is actually very simple. All materials picked up from home, cardboard, styrofoam, all waste materials used to build up the model of a cell, which is the basis of a concept that they have to study even in the higher classes. So, and how can you, execute a very simple topic like a cell? How can you execute it with an integrated holistic approach? You can ask a few students to build models. You can ask few students to make poems. So if they have a poem on cell, another team can give it a tune. You can put music to that entire poem, and you can have a field trip to a gym, because then children will understand that how important it is to keep our cells alive, especially during the COVID times, how important it is to keep exercising even at home, or you can use the facility of a gym if the lockdown is completed, is over. Then you can go take a field trip to a gym. They will learn and imbibe these life skills and values that they need to take care of their body. They'll try to, understand the importance of their body, because they should know that the soul resides in a temple, which is our body. So if we take care of the temple that is our body, every cell will become active and our soul will become pure. And once our soul is pure, you will lead to becoming a positive human, and creating good human beings should be the basis of our education. That's very important. And you can make it a little, you can add a fun element by using cell charades. Can we just go back to the previous slide? Thank you. So cell charades is like dumb charades, like Ms. Gurmeet gave a few examples. So you can have, children enacting the functions of the components of a cell and the other children guessing it. For example, mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. So you can have, they can even have a WhatsApp emoji like you have, showing your flexes. And then the other children will immediately guess, oh, so it's good. This is a component which is going to have a lot of power. And the component of the cell which has a lot of power is mitochondria. So this kind of learning will never be forgotten. And this is how we need to execute topics which will help children to imbibe holistic and integrated learning. Next slide, please. And a very important part, I think, which the NEP also drives at, is the integration of arts, that is theater. I'm not talking about drawing. I'm talking about arts, which is going to be the primary pathway to learning. So you can, instead of teaching them that Rani Lakshmibai, who participated in the revolt of 1857 and did so and so and so things, just imparting knowledge, we can have them enact roles of Rani Lakshmibai, Tatyatu, Nana Sahib. They can be a farmer or a weaver, so they can understand what atrocities the farmers or weavers went through in those ancient times, which led to the revolt of 1857. So it can be a drama. The whole classroom can be converted into a theater where there can be a lot of drama, and children will never forget what they've learned if there is an integration of arts or a play or a theatrical method integrated with this kind of learning.
Right.
So what does integrated teaching finally will lead to? It will lead to a lot of logical thinking, imagination, have the cognitive and linguistic skills, build self-awareness in the students and spatial awareness, and also create a lot of space for creative, physical and social skills. Next slide, please. And we come to India knowledge. Like we said, that it's very important that our children know about India. But how can we integrate it? We can tell them these are the monuments of India. Come on now, identify the lines of symmetry in each of these monuments. And you have a little heritage corner in the classroom where you can have all the pictures of these, monuments, and you can tap their creative thinking by asking them to get names of more monuments, and this will build all the excitement in the classroom. And I have put up the name of the book also from where I've taken. Most of these examples are from the Orient Black Swan books, which deal with a lot of objectives of the NEP. So this is how we can inculcate the knowledge of India in our children. And I have one more example in the next slide, where I have all these religious places, and we can also drive them towards understanding that how India as a country had a lot of huge heritage, which we have somehow forgotten, and we have contributed to the world so much that the world has taken up all our culture and heritage and is progressing, and in India it is actually diminishing. So let's be patriotic by building up the knowledge of our country and appreciating the heritage that we have and making it to the best use. And education is the only weapon that we can use to change the mindset of our countrymen. So there are these examples, and you can take a simple concept of yoga, and you can tell them that these are the different asanas, and come on now, pick up what kind of angles do these asanas tell you. Okay? So you can have Padmasana, Bhujangasana, Shavasana, and you can show them the yoga postures, inculcate yoga in your learning, and this will not only enhance their physical, emotional and mental skills, but will also teach them a kind of mathematics. And in this way, children will definitely learn better. And you can then go back again to appreciate that zero was actually discovered by our mathematicians, and you can appreciate the mathematicians and get history integrated into the knowledge of yoga and mathematics. So integrated holistic approach is what we should drive at, taking NEP ahead. And then of course, even as we talk about the Bhook Mitao campaign, which was started in Vadodara by a very simple citizen, Darshan Chandan, we can make our children sensitized towards how many children do not actually get food. So it is very important that we appreciate what we have, express gratitude towards the daily food that we get, help our parents in their household chores, and then take care of the whole world by first taking care of our homes, our school, our country, and then move towards attaining these sustainable development goals that UN has projected for us. So this is how the entire NEP drive, is heading towards. And yes, I agree that execution is going to be important. But if every teacher believes in herself and every educator believes that this is possible, and bringing in a revolution in classroom teaching is my responsibility, I'm sure NEP is going to help us go places, because if you believe in yourself, you will be unstoppable. Thank you so much for giving me a patient hearing. Thank you. You've been a lovely audience. Thank you so much.
Thank,
And I appreciate all
thank
my
you.
teachers. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
all my teachers. You know, I have a lovely team at Ramnivas Bajaj High School who actually collaborate and creatively think so that we can give the best to our children, because we basically believe in creating responsible, happy citizens into and sending them out into this world with a motto of bringing pride to our nation. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Thank you, Patanjali ma'am, and big thanks to your team and teachers. For in fact, you just suggested the roadmap with the help of various activities. How we can achieve the outcomes which are there in the NEP. You talked about why, as an educator, we need to create more empowered students who will eventually become great citizens to create the strong foundation of our country. You also talked about that we need to create an environment which creates more entrepreneur, and at least which encourages entrepreneurship kind of aspiration among our students at primary and secondary level, the school. You also said like implementation is going to be key. You also in a smooth way defined the importance of 5 C's: creativity, collaboration, communication, critical thinking, and confidence. You also talked about that NEP gives us a roadmap to achieve those highly talked about sustainable development goals. And you also shared a lot of examples which your school is already doing. You also talked about a lot of you shared a lot of ideas, and those are implementable ideas, and we all educators, we all in our respective domains will try to implement those things. So big thank Patanjali ma'am for joining and sharing your details. I'll come back to you with questions. Now I would request our next key speaker, Dr. B Binduji. Bindu ma'am, uh, over to you. Ma'am, you are on mute, Bindu ma'am. Yeah, Bindu ma'am, do you need do you need some more time? You are on mute.
I think she just needs to unmute herself.
Right. Bindu ma'am, you need to unmute yourself. Okay. Meanwhile, till time Binduji just comes back to us. We have been joined by Nitin Nagpal ji. Welcome, Nitin ji. Nitin ji is the co-founder with eMango Solutions. I welcome Nitin ji. If we can have your perspective, your ideas, Nitin ji.
Uh, Thank you, Rajul, and congratulations for this wonderful session. And please accept my apologies for not being there in the while being the in the opening remark. So, uh, I'm going to speak about the role of technology in the field of career counseling and education management. Education management for the students as well as the parents. So me and my team have been doing all the research for the last 2 years, and we are working with the R&D department of IIT Delhi to develop this platform. And I would just like to very quickly take you through the platform. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible. Hello?
Yes,
Yes,
it is
yes.
visible, sir.
Yeah. So actually, in our platform, we have two dashboards. One is for the students, and one is for the school principals to manage the students. So what the students can do is students can explore the careers, various careers, have know the details of all the careers in the form of videos and audios. The student does not, although that all the information about the career, like what are the skills required for the career, what is the future prospect of this particular career, what are the salaries in India, starting salary to and what are the various paths a student can take to pursue this career, what are the works that he will do, what are the top colleges, entrance exams, course information, what courses he will do, what will be the course fee, and all these things. All the information he can get here in the form of text. What is the API? Now, API is the aptitude, personality, and interest, which we measure through psychometric assessment. And while choosing our job, we give a lot of importance to कि हमारे पास skills क्या है. Of course, जो हमारे पास skills है उसको match करते हुए हम job ढूंढेंगे. But at the time of choosing the career, enough importance is not given to this. So every career has a set API, that is aptitude, personality, and interest required in order to do well in this career. So what are the API required? Whether this career is suitable for the child or not. The child can give the psychometric assessment, and this is the first time in the world that in the career counseling domain we are converting the psychometric assessment in the form of video games. क्योंकि बच्चे उसको टेस्ट को देने से भागते हैं या फिर गलत गलत आंसर्स देते हैं जल्दी जल्दी करने के लिए या समझ में नहीं आता. तो वी आर कन्वर्टिंग द साइकोमेट्रिक असेसमेंट इन द फॉर्म ऑफ वीडियो गेम्स where a student will be playing a game, but at the back end his psychometric assessment will be going on. As soon as he finishes the psychometric assessment, अगर उसने अपना स्ट्रीम सेलेक्टर का दिया तो वो इमीडिएटली आ जाएगा कि क्या आपको सब्जेक्ट्स लेने चाहिए. आफ्टर एनईपी ऑफ कोर्स द सब्जेक्ट्स नीड्स टू बी चूजन. तो आपको क्या 11th में सब्जेक्ट्स लेने चाहिए या फिर आपको कौन से करियर पाथ में जाना चाहिए. ना उस करियर का फ्यूचर प्रोस्पेक्ट कैसा है, उसके पास जॉब ट्रेंड्स कैसी हैं, उसकी इंडिया में सैलरी ग्रोथ क्या है, and all those things. So after the career he can give the psychometric assessment. The student can explore various colleges. लॉ के कौन से कॉलेज हैं, इंजीनियरिंग के कौन से कॉलेज हैं, कॉलेज की क्या डिटेल है, कॉलेज की रैंक क्या है, उसकी प्लेसमेंट क्या है, उसकी इंपॉर्टेंट डेट्स क्या है, एंड सो ऑन. और एग्जाम्स कौन से होते हैं इन इंडिया एंड ओवरसीज, लॉ के कौन से एग्जाम्स हैं, कॉमर्स में बच्चे ने कॉमर्स लिया है या फिर तो उसके कौन से एग्जाम्स हैं, इंजीनियरिंग के आर्किटेक्चर्स के कौन से एग्जाम्स हैं. तो स्टूडेंट कैन एक्सप्लोर एवरीथिंग फ्रॉम हेयर. एंड सपोज